true moral character of a person is actually the most important thing. It might be also just like only beauty gives you the luxury to say that. So that's why work on getting your foot in the door. And then, hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's video is not really about minimalism, but it's actually a video on the topic that is really popular on my channel, and it's actually talking about pretty privilege. So I have made some pretty privilege videos in the past, and I had one in particular that has been performing really well and has brought in quite a bit of subscribers. I think maybe like 100 new subscribers off this video. So I thought that I would make another one. I've actually had some subscribers also ask me for more content on this topic. I got 10 things I want to talk about if you are on your own pretty privilege journey. So without further ado, let's just get to the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. So a little bit about myself before I get started. Some of you might be wondering, who am I to be talking about pretty privilege? The only thing that I can share as to why I think I can be an authority to talk about this topic is this is what I used to look like, and I never really experienced much pretty privilege until way later in life after university, and this is what I look like now. And I can say it is quite night and day between how you are treated when you are conventionally pretty and versus when you're not. So I figured if any of these tips could help you have a smoother life, I think that'd be awesome. I make these videos on my channel in hopes that I can help my subscribers out. I want my Cobra babies to do well in life. So this video is for you guys who have requested more tips and tricks on how to look smacks. Okay, so number one, be fit. So I want to firstly disclaimer, this is not me telling you you need to be thin. As somebody who grew up in the 90s, I think that the slim, thin, anorexic vibe is not attractive. It's very unhealthy. A lot of girls have lost their period, developed eating disorders over this. So I just want to firstly disclaimer, this is not me saying you need to be thin. This is me saying you need to be fit. And fit is different for everybody. Everyone's body type is beautiful. We all carry our fat and muscle in different ways. Pick up a sport, go for a run, learn to swim, play tennis, whatever it is that makes you feel happy, healthy, and fit. That's something that you could definitely implement to have a better physique. Put on a bit of muscle, maybe trim a little bit of fat in areas that you don't feel very confident in. But by no means am I saying you need to be thin, you just need to be fit. And I think that having a nice body, which is again also relative and also has different cultural norms, so again, not thin, fit and healthy, can definitely help your overall confidence and physique. I can only speak for myself, I can't speak for other people, but I definitely felt a lot happier in a body that I felt pretty in. Yeah, I guess find also more conventional than I did when I didn't really have a conventional body. But the interesting to note is that my body type is very curvy, and curvy was in for a period of time, but not when I was curvy. So all I want to say is be aware of trends, be aware of like cyclical societal notions. I think at the end of the day, just having a body that you feel happy and comfortable with is definitely going to help with your pretty privilege, more so in that you feel comfortable in your body and other people can see that you respect your own physique, which is like pretty much half the game. Okay, number two, nutrition matters. I think that everyone always talks about this, but I just thought I'd bring it to the table, is that what you eat and what you put into your body really does matter. You really shouldn't be treating your body like a trash can and eating, garbage. I'm giving you guys real talk because I found that in my other video when I was brutally honest and I shared my true and honest tips, you guys really like that transparency, you guys like that honesty. I know that a lot of fitness influencers showcase these like massive eating, hauls, is that what they're called? Or they eat a lot of junk and still have a certain physique. And I think that while that is wonderful and clickbaity, I feel like that's not something that is long-term sustainable. So I think that putting some importance on the type of nutrition that you eat can really help your beauty. I feel like beauty comes from within, not like from a psychological perspective, but health is the foundation of beauty. We think things are beautiful because they're healthy. So if you're struggling with acne, for example, you could definitely take a look at your food, see if there's anything inflammatory in there, whether it be like milk or sugar or gluten, and also seeking professional help, seeking out doctors if that is within your budget. I know that not everyone can afford doctors, so that's why I'm saying maybe just look at what you're eating. I know that, and that's the other thing, a lot of people say that nutrition is something that can be expensive. It's true, because what you eat is really important, and so that's why a lot of people, if they can eat better, they do, because I think that people who are aware of these things, they understand that a lot of your physique physique is based on what you eat. If you eat junk, you're going to look like junk. This is not saying that you could never have ice cream and you can never eat chips. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, your daily staples and your nutrition as a whole is going to influence your health and your physique. And also just drinking more water and drinking more tea as opposed to like sugary drinks and things like that. Okay, number 3. So less makeup is actually better. And I think that this one is really against the grain, especially with social media and all the beauty gurus. You think that you're tricking people into thinking you're pretty by beating your face. And a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with me and say that like if you're not pretty, you need makeup to compensate it. But I sincerely believe that people can tell that you're wearing a lot of makeup. And I think that maybe social media skews it a little because there's a thing known as like stage makeup. It's a lot of makeup and it looks crazy in real life, but on camera it comes out really pretty. So I think that that might skew a lot of people's perception that makeup makes you look pretty. I think that it does, especially for camera, because stage makeup needs to be a lot more harsher. But in real life, a lot of that makeup is very obvious to the eye. Skin texture, the consistency of makeup and everything like that. I think addressing the underlying issues is a lot more effective than trying to cover it up with makeup. As you guys have seen, like a lot of models and a lot of like the clean girl aesthetic, they barely wear makeup because they're pretty. So I think that is, so what I'm trying to say is address some of the underlying issues, and I am going to talk about that in the upcoming points, but I just want to say that you should work on trying to be pretty and not fake it with makeup. And I know that's very like, what? And a lot of people are not going to agree with me. A lot of people are going to say
like, I don't have the resources to work on my looks.
The cheapest thing is makeup. But if you've spent money on makeup, you might know that makeup is actually not that cheap. It does add up, and makeup has a lot of toxins that are not even that good for you in the first place. So there's actually a lot better alternatives that you could do that is actually just better for you than to try to like cover up your insecurities with makeup. And I say these things because that's what I did. I thought that I could fake it till I make it. I used to cake my face like crazy. I was super obsessed with makeup. Like, don't get me wrong, like I still love me my makeup. This is not me here sitting telling you like I don't love makeup. I still love makeup. But I think that's something that has really helped me a lot when I went through a makeup rehab journey and a makeup no-buy, was realizing that there's other things that are the foundations of beauty, and it isn't actually makeup. I realized that a lot of beauty gurus I used to follow were because they were pretty, not because of the makeup itself. And I thought that the makeup would make me pretty, but it isn't actually that. It's kind of like when fit people sell you like a fitness pill or like a diet pill and tell you that they're thin because of the pill, but it's like, a lot of us are aware that that's a scam. I think that the beauty industry hasn't really brought that forth to the table. They're selling you a beauty ideal or a beauty dream or a beauty fantasy that you could replicate with makeup, but it isn't actually. With a lot of celebrities just get plastic surgery and then tell you it was the lipstick. I think Kylie is a really good example of that. I mean, fantastic marketing, like brilliant. She got her lips done and sells you a lip kit, like business genius. But I think that as the consumer, it's important to be aware that makeup doesn't make you pretty. The fourth point is dental health. So I actually did not realize that my glow up was actually due to braces. When I went into dentistry, I later realized why braces, when people get braces, they have such massive glow ups after braces. So your dental structure is actually related to all of your other facial structures. The easiest way to get surgery or plastic surgery without actually going under the knife is actually having braces. You guys have seen, like, when people get a glow up, people think they look better because they took the braces off. It's actually not. It's actually because of the dental structure. So your dental structure is related to your like palate ridge, and then your cheekbones and your orbital bones. All of that sits on top of where your teeth are. So when you correct your dental arch, it changes everything else in your face. It's going to give you higher cheekbones. It's going to raise your nose because all of this just gets pulled up. Eye orbital area will shift and change. That will also change where your brow sits, your whole face, even your cheekbone, your jaw, everything. All of that is related to how your teeth sit in your mouth. So if there's no other tip in this video that you want to take from this, I would highly recommend looking at your dental health if you want to truly embody beauty. And if you don't believe me, you can actually watch this plastic surgery videos, this channel that I like to watch. I'll list it down in the descriptor box, but I'll also put it up here. It's a plastic surgery channel, and a lot of your beauty is actually related to your dental health. If you want to fix your actual physical beauty, you might consider looking into your dental health. I know that's not possible for everyone because braces are not cheap. I completely understand that, and I kind of understand why it's called pretty privilege now, because a lot of things that are related to beauty cost money, especially if you're not blessed with straight teeth naturally. Okay, the fifth tip is Lasik. So I have had Lasik. I used to have glasses before, and so the reason that we think that people who don't wear glasses are considered more conventionally beautiful is because something that looks like a marker of lesser health we don't think is attractive. So needing an assistive tool like glasses for poor vision, we don't consider that beautiful. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's personal preferences. Some people think glasses are very beautiful. That's not what we're getting into. We're not getting into subjective beauty. I'm just explaining some of the things that I did to help improve my appearance. So I got Lasik because the reason I did it was actually very superficial. I figured if I didn't wear glasses, it'd be easier to wear makeup. This was naive 20-year-old me thinking at the time, so disregard that. But it really did pay off not having to wear glasses. It looks like an indicator of health. I mean, I have 20/20 vision now, which is also fantastic. I mean, quality of life, but also generally speaking, you don't have an obstruction on your face. Your natural face shows and your glasses are not in the way. You look healthier because people on a subconscious level understand that your vision doesn't need assistance. So that is also a marker of health. I'm not by any means recommending that you go and get Lasik. Lasik is very expensive and can be dangerous. You could go blind. So these are a lot more radical. So I don't recommend them unless you've done some serious research and you know what you're doing. Okay, and number 6, another tip that I think maybe is less radical, but that is maintaining your natural hair. So obviously I sound like a hypocrite because right now I have dyed hair. You guys can see my natural roots have finally grown in, but it was actually with going blonde that I realized that all this time I've been giving this tip about natural hair being your best. I was right. I was absolutely correct. Obviously, the disclaimer is if you have gray hair, then disregard this point. You as a woman, we have a lot of unfair advantages. If you feel the need to have to dye your hair to compete with a youth-driven society, I completely respect that. I probably will dye my hair when my hair starts growing, white, but your natural hair is usually a lot more better because it's not processed, it's not damaged, it's not, honestly, I think hair also has a lot of societal notions in it, like certain type of hair is considered good hair and certain other types of hair are considered not good hair. So I think there's also a lot of racial and class undertones in having nice hair or the type of natural hair that you're allowed to have. So obviously I do want to do my best to be sensitive with this tip. If you have hair that is not considered conventionally beautiful, obviously it's very difficult to say,
yeah, just embrace your natural hair.
But as somebody who grew up in the 90s, having curly hair at the time was considered extremely ugly. If you guys watch The Princess Diary, she was forced to straighten her hair and then
she had a glow up and she was considered beautiful.
But for me personally, my hair is like 2 days old, so if you know anything about curly hair, when it's 2 days old, it kind of loses the curl pattern. But my hair is actually very curly. I'll show you guys some pictures of that. And it wasn't until I embraced my natural self and I rejected societal or conventional notions about what is considered beautiful that I finally started to feel beautiful in my own skin. And whether or not that's going to help with pretty privilege, I do think that most people look very beautiful in their own natural hair because there's just a sense of like natural hair in itself is very shiny. Hair that's healthy reflects light, looks beautiful. Okay, and number 7, flattering clothes. So for me, I kind of realized that like there is no one beauty ideal. There's different types of body types and dressing to your body type is probably the most intelligent and efficient thing to do. For me, I realized this in my minimalism journey when I quit trends, when I quit wearing whatever was in style and I started instead looking at my body type and looking at what looked good on me and what looked classic, what looked timeless, what looked effortless. And I found I started to feel better, look better, present myself in a much more beautiful aesthetic, because when I kept trying to follow trends and wear clothes that were popular or fitted somebody else's body type, it just didn't look good on me. As I mentioned, I have like a thin waist, but I have big hips. So when I would try to wear like tiny clothes that would like accentuate my even bigger hips and then like not really showcase my small waist, like it never really looked good until I started dressing for my body type. Once I just embraced my own physique and started wearing clothes that fit me best, I started to feel like a lot better. And I think that that's something I could definitely put forth is the way that you dress. I know that that's not within really pretty privilege because your face is the central point of beauty. I definitely agree with that. But if there's other things that you can't fix, there's no money or just no resources to fix your face, I think that dressing well is half the game. I think that also definitely helps a lot. Somebody who's well dressed, I think this is like the French paradox. A lot of French women are considered beautiful, but they're not classic beauties, but they're considered chic and fashionable because they dress impeccably. So I feel like you could definitely hack that by making sure that you are dressing in a flattering aesthetic if there's nothing that you could do about your face. Okay, number 8, demeanor matters. So I think that the type of aesthetic or the type of personality that we embody matters. And I'm not here saying you need to be soft-spoken as a woman. I definitely don't think that. But something that I've been kind of noticing now in my older age, you know, now that I'm in my 30s, is that some people's personality shines and you have like that charismatic it factor that just seems to outshine personalities. I think there's a plethora of beautiful women out there. Like, I think that, you know, with Instagram and social media, you can see that there's like a dime a dozen of beautiful women. But why are some women popular and some women are not? And I'm not here saying, you know, we should be striving to be popular. I also don't think that that's very healthy either. What I'm trying to say is embracing your natural personality is going to make you shine the best. A lot of YouTubers that I watched, when they start to really come into their own, is when they really start to accept and accentuate and emphasize their own personality. Trying to be somebody else it comes off as inauthentic, and I feel like people can see that. And I think that Coco Chanel said it well: just be you, everyone else is taken, which I think is it's just so beautiful, because I think that when we're young, we're still kind of experimenting and trying to figure out who we are. And I know that everybody always says that you should just be yourself. I think to a certain extent you should try to be yourself, but at the same time, if you don't like who you are, then change. At the same time, I think there comes a point where you really will truly shine in the most beautiful way possible when you accept and emphasize the best aspects of your personality and your character. You know, some people shine when they're like demure, and other people are amazing when they step into their fierce personality. I think that just, yeah, embracing that can be a beautiful thing. Okay, the next one, number 9, your eyebrows matter so much more than your nose or your cheeks. So this is an interesting one that I did not come up with, but I actually have to say that I definitely agree with. So I got this tip actually from that same video that I mentioned earlier. They did research on it, and it came out the top like 3 markers of beauty were actually brows and lashes were considered much more important than your cheekbones or your nose, which I think is kind of refreshing, because I think there's a lot you can do with your brows versus, like, unless you can do plastic surgery on your own face, there's really not much you can do with the nose or your cheekbones other than like filler. And I don't really recommend filler, only because I've never done filler, so I can't really advocate for something I've never done. Not because I'm against it, but I just, in my own makeup and self-love journey, I've come to love myself to a point where I felt like I needed filler. You can definitely drastically alter your appearance by filling in your brows and making your brows look a lot thicker. If you want to invest in making yourself look a lot more aesthetic, I think brows is the way to go. And I didn't realize how important brows were till I didn't have brows. If you guys saw that video, I bleached my brows blonde and I didn't have brows. I looked really off. I hadn't changed anything about my appearance at all. My hair was still my natural hair. I had no surgery or anything like that. Literally just didn't have brows, and I looked so strange. Like, I looked like an alien. Very fashionable, but I looked very weird. And the reason that brows are considered a beauty trait is because your brows showcase your brow ridge, which we consider to be very beautiful because it shapes the facial structure. So having good brows is an indicator of health. It shows that your face shape is good. So because of that, I think that can be quite liberating, especially the current day narrative when it comes to beauty, is that like we should all be getting that like little upturned nose. Like, that is like I think that's what's in right now, that current beauty standard. But like, standards come and go. Thin lips were in when I was a kid, then the Kylie Jenner lips were in, and then now thin lips are back in. It's just like, it's like never ending. So I think it's fantastic that noses are quite bottom of the list. There's many different types of beautiful noses. So I think that can be a relief to anybody who might be struggling with their nose. That's a relief to me, because I struggled with my nose. I went to a nose specialist because I couldn't breathe through my nose. I thought I had a deviated septum. Turns out I have a very straight septum. I just had allergies. So again, seeing a doctor and fixing the underlying issues can probably be a lot more effective than like cover up surface issues. Okay, and the very last tip, self-respect. I think at the end of the day, if there's really not much you can do about your appearance, if all of the other things you've already done, you've already tried, and none of it's working, there comes a point where, and this is something that I got from Alex Hormozy. Alex Hormozy told a story. I think it's like I probably won't be able to find like the screenshots and stuff like that, but if you watch his content, he realized that from an upper classmate, that conventional beauty or attractiveness had nothing to do with the way that you looked, but rather the demeanor that you carried and the self-respect that you had for yourself. So for the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about your appearance. You might as well rock what you got. And I think that that is the beauty of beauty, is that beauty is subjective. I know that a lot of people argue, no, there's mathematical golden ratios of beauty and this and that. It's true, there is, but we can all definitely think of unconventionally attractive people who just don't look that good, but they're super charismatic and they just make the room so bright and everything like that. And it comes down to self-respect. So if you've done everything else, you've worked out, you've put on makeup, you've eaten better nutrition, you've styled yourself in a better way, at the end of the day, the way that you feel about yourself is ultimately the most important thing, because no amount of external self-validation will make you feel beautiful on the inside. I know that pretty privilege can make everything a lot easier. Being beautiful does make life so much easier. I definitely do not want to discredit that. But if at the end of the day, there's only so much that you can do, there comes a point where that self-love you're looking for on the outside, you will actually find it on the inside. It's actually already inside of you, but sometimes it takes, working on the outside to be able to find it on the inside. So I hope that this could have helped anybody else out. I hope that you guys found some value in this, and you guys don't need to agree with me. This is just the things that have been part of my pretty privileged journey, and I thought that I would share that with my Cobra babies in hopes that some of this might resonate with you or help you out in your own journey, because there's some stuff in my list that has really given me a lot of peace, where I felt like the most important thing was beauty, when I realized that there's actually more to life than just beauty, which is such a relief, because pretty privilege had me really messed up for the longest time, thinking that it was just about looks, when yes, looks are great, but when you have the looks, beyond that, what more? Because you can't always just ride on your looks. So beyond that, what the true moral character of a person is actually the most important thing. It might be also just only beauty gives you the luxury to say that. So that's why work on getting your foot in the door and then figuring out the rest after that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.